Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be the first half of my July wrap-up. First of all, I am taking part in the plus size readathon, which is hosted by Julie and Lexi, and I will be linking their channels below with at least one of the announcement videos. And I've so far read 2 books for this readathon. It goes from July 1st to the last of July, and I have read To Be Honest for this, and also Savvy Sheldon Feels Good as Hell. So Savvy Sheldon fulfills Love Has No Scale, which is a book with plus size rep that has a romance as part of it, which is where this guy comes in with his adorable chocolate lab, and also More Than Just a Body, where the plus size character is about, I think it's supposed to be a main plus size character for all of these prompts, stands out for their skills, which in this case, Savvy is very good at cooking, and there's also a lot about her getting good at tennis. And she's also very good at her job, which is being a life insurance underwriter. She like helps choose who can have life insurance through this company, and like what rates they need because of their health and stuff, which is a lot better than being, say, a health insurance person involved in that. So it doesn't have, I don't think, nearly as many ethical issues as, yes, Frodo, what do you need? Pets. He needs pets. But it is what a lot of people would consider a boring job, but I think the author does an actual decent job of describing it. And a lot of people, when their characters have boring jobs, they just very much sum it up and don't look at it in detail, but the author doesn't skim over it as much as many people would, and I actually like that. This is a romance with a heavy side of just contemporary fiction, or it's more of a contemporary fiction with a small side of romance. The romance is not the primary plot thing. The primary plot thing is our main character growing to be comfortable with herself and taking more time for herself and getting more into the things she loves instead of focusing so much on work, because she's she has been super focused on work, partially because she feels pressured by her mother to be successful in a monetary way. And also because she likes having money, but she's realizing that when she has a bad breakup where the guy cites her being too busy as part of it and her being fat as part of it, she decides she's going to do, she decides to shift her priorities a little bit, and she's still going to be great at work, but she's also going to start taking care of her body more, which everyone should know that this was a recommendation from the Readathon, but this does have, not dieting exactly, but ideas about getting a better body and lifestyle changes and eating healthy, which healthy is one thing, but she ate healthy before, and it talks about that. So it kind of goes back and forth on whether she wants to lose weight, or whether losing weight is a good thing, or if just feeling good in your body is a good thing. So I don't know, it felt kind of like the author of the book itself was undecided on how to handle that, so it kind of goes back and forth. But there was a lot of stuff about focusing on, she starts getting back into tennis, which she used to do and really enjoy, but she does it partially because she wants to improve her body, but a lot of that improvement isn't in losing weight, it's in gaining muscle, which I think is a much more positive way to look at it. I really like to gain muscle when I work out. That's usually my purpose. I like the way it looks, and I like the way it feels, and feeling strong. And so whenever that was the focus, I felt comfortable with that. And it also focuses a lot on food and cooking, because that's one of her big talents and hobbies. And there's a lot of detail about the stuff she cooks, and there's also a lot of detail about the tennis, which was the parts that I felt kind of bored during, because I don't care about tennis or working out that much. Like, it felt a little repetitive as it described each day what type of exercise she was doing with the tennis and how she was playing with her friends. It didn't just sum that part up, it was very detailed about it. So that felt a bit repetitive, even though it was showing how she gained strength and endurance. It felt a little bit too much showy, a little not enough. Yes, Frodo. I think he sees a bug. Not enough telling in that area, just because I don't care about tennis. Whereas it was about like gardening or growing plants, or the sections about cooking that were, there were a lot of details about the cooking. I enjoyed those parts because I enjoy those things. So if you like tennis or details about working out in the area of tennis, you might enjoy those sections. The relationship was fairly sweet, but it was very much a side thing. So like, I didn't totally ship it because I just didn't care that much about it because it wasn't really the point. But it was nice. So overall, I think I give this 4 stars. Then To Be Honest by Maggie Ann Martin. This one fulfills the prompt of first come first curve because I didn't know much of anything about it. I just saw it on the Instagram list of recommendations for this readathon, and it was one that my library happened to have, which my library didn't have a lot of them. So I got the audiobook. This is about a teenager who's plus size, who has a mom who used to be fat but is now has an eating disorder because she went on a Biggest Loser-esque show and they were horrible on that show, and if you've watched it, it's pretty horrible. And now they're doing follow-ups, so she feels like she has to maintain the unrealistic and super unhealthy weight loss that happened at that show. And so she's doing quite badly, and she's putting a lot of pressure on her daughter to also lose weight because so that it'll look like she's fixed her whole family when the show comes and checks on her. So there's a lot of pressure from that, and so that has really hurt the main character's self-esteem and is starting to affect her relationship with food. And meanwhile, she's got a boy at school that she starts to tutor and she has a crush on. Yeah, the main focus is the relationship between the main character and her mom, and how difficult home life has been, and also how difficult public life has been because she has been seen on this show and her mom has been seen on this show, so there's a little bit of difficulty in that area as well. But I really liked how our main character stood up to her mom and the positivity that she showed, and how she talked about how having social media people who are fat and proud and not negative about it has really helped her. But yes, Frodo. What? That can't make up for how many hours she's with her mom and having this negativity pushed at her. So she's not going to be able to have a healthy relationship with her body and with food until this gets resolved. So yeah, since it's not really in my genres, it was just a contemporary fiction, my enjoyment wasn't as high as it might be. Frodo's going by my chair so I can pet him. So I think I would give this one a 3.5 stars. Then this one, Wild Seed Witch by Marty Dumas. I loved. Look at this cover. It's absolutely gorgeous. As you can probably tell, there's some plant magic going on. Witch is in the title. It's very witchy. It is all about a bunch of black girls who go to a etiquette school for summer in Louisiana. That's also a magic school, and there's lots of stuff going on in this book. There's some bullying because of the wild seed thing, means that she has grown up in a non-witch family, so she doesn't know how all of it works and has to be taught from scratch, and the teachers aren't very good at handling wild seeds because they're so used to people who have grown up in these families, so they don't teach her very well. And she gets in trouble for not knowing things she has no way of knowing, which is frustrating. But there are some teachers who are decent, and there are some girls who are decent, even though she gets bullied a fair amount. And some of the bullying, I didn't like the way that was handled in the end. I felt like it was just excused too lightly, but I really liked how the main character having overflow of magic has had consequences, and she has to figure out how to fix those things. And she also has this thing with her dad having left her mom and being with another woman, and she wants her parents to get back together, and so she's thinking about using magic to do that. And yeah, there's a lot going on, but I really like the magical aspects and all the flowers and plants growing, and I liked how redemption and fixing your mistakes was handled. And also the friendship themes were very good. I really liked how she teamed up with another semi-outcast. I always love when that happens. So 5 stars to this one. Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. This one was really enjoyable and cool. It didn't really catch me until about 20% in, which if you read writing advice, they want you to catch people on the first page, but I usually give them till at least 10% before I'm feeling like I might just put this down. But I really wanted to like this one because it has stuff about the movie industry, and our main character is a set designer, and I really thought that could be interesting. So I read it really slowly until about the 20% mark, and then it picked up and moved a lot faster, and we got introduced to the other character in the romance relationship that is the main part of the story, and we also got a lot into more making movies and making sets, and that was a lot of fun. So our main character, while buying pieces for a set, comes across a letter in a piece of furniture of a famous guy and tries to deliver it, can't deliver it, so reads it, finds out that this famous guy had a secret kid who had a kid, and then goes and tracks down the granddaughter, and the granddaughter is who the relationship is with. And the granddaughter has had a lot of trouble, financial trouble, and was kicked out for having a relationship with another woman. So she's about 18 and is homeless, has fortunately been able to find a place at a homeless shelter, and so they connect and start tracing back and finding out more of the history, and they bond over that, and they also bond over this new movie that our main character is working on because the granddaughter always wanted to be an actress, auditions for the little movie. And yeah, it's just very sweet. It's quite slow and relaxed, and that was quite nice because I had been reading a fair amount of fast-paced books. 4 stars to that one. Then Book Lovers by Emily Henry, which I wasn't sure about, but came very highly recommended. And I ended up really liking it. It is about an editor and an agent of books. One of them is vacation in a small town and one lives in a small town, and they're both kind of the big city person tropes where they're kind of hard as a person, and everything's all about business, and they don't have much of a heart, and so they talk about how they're in a rom-com, they would go to the small town and get changed as a person and fall in love, or they would be the other half of the relationship where their partner goes to a small town and falls in love and stays there, and they're the one who is the jerk back in the city who gets broken up with. And so they have lots of banter together, and they start working on a book together, and so they start helping that author edit their book together, and there's a sister involved who's a very big part of it. Our main character is very close with her sister and has come to this small town at her behest, and so they're trying to do a bunch of small town things together because the sister wants to, and their relationship is very important, and I really liked how important that relationship was and the big focus it was. it didn't feel like a little side thing, with the romantic relationship being so much more important. And yeah, it started out very spoofy, anti-tropey, but then it moved into being very genuine and having a lot of heart, so I really like that. 4.5 stars to book lovers. And then A Lady for a Duke, I adored so much. You've probably heard about this one on BookTube, even though it's a fairly new release. It's so good. It's a historical romance. Which war was it? It was the one with Napoleon, I think, where one character, who is trans, took the opportunity of being presumed dead at Waterloo, took the opportunity of having her old self disappear and coming into her new self and creating a new identity for herself, and living as her brother's wife's lady's companion. So she gives up being the eldest child, or even a child of a big estate and having a lot of rank, to being somebody who is just a paid companion. So it's a big downscale in rank, but much more rewarding personally, because she gets to live outwardly as a woman. But soon, 2 years after this, she hears that her good friend is very depressed, her good friend she had from before her transition, and so she and her sister-in-law go to try to help him, and so she starts to bond with him again and make a new relationship, and it's so sweet. And the lack of transphobia in the main characters is really a relief. I really like how important to them their relationship is and how it changes. Definitely 5 stars. So that's what I've read in the first half of July. I'd love to know what you're reading and what's going on with you. If you'd like to leave an emoji, how about a blue heart and a yellow heart for A Lady for a Duke? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!